Brick restoration can be a very tedious process, but if done the right way, it can be accomplished very efficiently. This process includes grinding the old mortar out between each brick, replacing that mortar with new mortar, while making repairs to any damaged bricks along the way. The reason people would want to do brick restoration is to make an old run-down building look almost new again. The first step to this process is assembling a crew. This crew usually consists of masons, laborers, and sometimes a foreman if the job's big enough. The laborers start and finish the job while the masons come in at the middle of the job, handling the craftsmanship of the project. The foreman is pretty much the boss, overseeing the whole operation. Assembling the crew is important because you need to make sure your workers are not only skilled but maintain good chemistry with one another at the same time. Masons are usually the most skilled and get paid the most because they're the ones who are responsible for making everything look pretty. They're the ones who repoint and make repairs. The laborers get paid less than the masons because they're pretty much the ones who do the preparation and cleanup. Having these two types of workers is important for a company because it allows you to not pay your employees as much when jobs that aren't in the scope of the work you need to get done need to happen. Such things as setting up staging and grinding and all the prep work that I'll explain later in the speech. And the foreman is the one who's in charge of the overall schedule of the work, making sure all the crews are doing their job. If you have everyone doing their job and are as good at what they do, this can be a very efficient process. Laborers are the least expensive to put to work, so we start them off first by setting up staging. Staging is set up because you might need to reach a higher place that you can't reach from the ground to make repairs and repoint. After the staging is done being set up, the laborers go through and grind out all the old mortar. This is done with a grinder. A grinder is pretty much a handheld circular saw that grinds out all the old mortar between each brick. Then the bricks that are in bad condition are taken out. This is also done before the masons get to the site. This is usually done with a chipping gun. And a chipping gun, the best way to explain it is pretty much a handheld jackhammer. Has the same effect, just takes out brick instead of cement or rocks. So after the masons come through and do their job, which I'll explain in a second, the laborers have to go around the building one more time, set up all the staging again on each side, and then wash the brick. Washing the brick not only makes it look more vibrant, but also gets all the old cement chunks off of the corners of the brick, which you don't normally notice, but if you were up close you would. This job is usually done with a bucket of acid and a wire brush. It's not a fun job. When I worked masonry, I was a laborer, and it was my least favorite part of the whole process. The masons are generally the most skilled craftsmen on the site. They come in after the laborers are done grinding, and then they repoint. Now, repointing is a process where you pretty much just take a special metal knife and place the mortar in between each brick. So it's just placing mortar where it used to be, where the laborers grinded it out. The slowest process that will the thing that will slow any project down is the fact if you have to make more repairs. So pointing goes pretty fast, but making repairs means you take out whole bricks, which means whole new bricks have to be put in. So I'd say it takes almost 3 times as long to make repairs than it does repointing. This is why masons are the most skilled get paid the most because they're the most skilled, because they're the ones who not only have a time schedule, but they need to make this look pretty and good. And it's the hardest job to do right. The foreman's job is the most important. He's the person in charge of it all. He makes sure every crew is on schedule, along with keeping quality control. He needs to make sure all the crews are doing their jobs and getting their weekly timeline down, which pretty much just means that if you set a goal for the end of the week, he needs to make sure all the crews are there. And if they're not, he's the one that gets chewed out for it. He's also the person who talks to other subcontractors on the site. Now, this is only important if you're on a bigger job. that's contracted out by a lot of different companies. But it's the most important thing, because when you step back and look at the big project, masonry could be a very small part of it. So he's the guy who goes in and talks to the other subcontractors and plans out when his guys should be doing what side of the building and how they should be going about doing it. This is important because if an electrician needs to get there, they need to clear out so the electrician can do his job, because having electricity not in one part of the building might be stopping the carpenters from doing that job. So it's a huge process, and the foreman's the one who makes it all come together on a big commercial site. Anyway, masonry restoration projects can take a long time to complete, but if you have a routine down with a good skilled group of workers, it can be very profitable. Thank you.